Lloydminster City Council approved the carryover of more than $33 million worth capital projects from previous years that will see work continue in 2022. Over 50 capital projects are carrying forward into the new year. Some of those projects are nearing completion, while others have yet to break ground. Some of the projects on the list include the Water and Sewer Replacement Program, Fire Station Number 1, and the wastewater treatment plant that is expected to be completed in 2023.
As it was outlined, 82 million are multiple year projects. And that's one of the good things that we have. We can't always complete a project in 1 year, so they will be carryover. There was other issues noted, including, again, supply issues.
Mayor Albers says many projects on the list were expected to take more than 1 year to complete. He added that the city would work to complete projects this year and less projects will carry over into 2023.
That money has been budgeted for, it was collected in a tax system at that time and is being allocated still today. So there won't be a retaxing to say, oh, we've got to pay for that again.
With positive temperatures warming up in the border city, a negative impact comes with how it might shape outdoor skating rinks.
If weather says it's going to be +2, +3 and the sun pokes out, it could be upwards of 5 some days, and that ice surface really takes a hit.
Man-made rinks throughout Lloydminster are those most likely to see immediate impacts from the snap of warm temperatures. Jones says that with slushy conditions, using the ice surfaces can make it more difficult for city crews to maintain them.
Hopefully, people can refrain these next couple of days of it being warm, even though it is beautiful to be outside. Just kind of hold back and wait for this little bit of colder weather. And with that, keep that in mind, because that will actually extend the life of these hockey rinks a little bit.
A lesser worry for the city comes via the ice at Bud Miller Park due to the simple nature of ice depth.
Right now, it's upwards of 24 inches thick and then some. So that ice can, afford to take, those little bit of warmer days. And there might be a little bit of residual water pooling around the edges, but that's just the snowbanks from our snow clearing throughout the day.
The Parks and Green Spaces Department will continue to monitor the state of city rinks. Updates on ice conditions can be found on the city's website. The Lloydminster Museum and Archives hosted a preservation workshop yesterday. Participants learned some of the tips and tricks of the trade. Our Nicole Gruber has more.
Welcome everyone, I'm Taylor McMillan, I'm one of the archivists here.
Members of the community took part in a preservation workshop hosted by the Museum and Archives yesterday. Corrine Price and Gayla McMillan taught people the do's and don'ts of preserving old documents.
So we're going to try and teach it in sort of layman's terms and a more practical approach to it. Sometimes archives best practices can involve a lot of expensive materials, and that might not be a practical solution, but we're going to try our best to kind of present what might be a good alternative or a good solution for what you do have.
Participants got to see what tools work best for the job they want done.
Generally, we'll just be giving them some tools, showing them the tools that we use every day and how to use those properly, and some best practices for taking care of their own items when they get home.
Some people came to learn how to keep family documents safe.
If you're like my family, I have acres and acres of materials. I don't think my kids will know what to do with them, so I think it's good to learn how to preserve them, how to keep them safe. I mean, I hope to find out something about photographs somewhere along here.
The preservation workshop takes place in Archives Weeks here at the Museum and Archives, and there will be a few other activities going on throughout the week, including their open house today, another workshop happening tomorrow, and finally they'll be drawing for their door prize on Friday. For Primetime Local News, I'm Nicole Gruber.
In this week's Beyond the Classroom, we take a look at a few classes around the Lloydminster Public School Division who spoke with a local costume designer. Jeff Chief is a Cree costume designer from Onion Lake Cree Nation. He first started in fashion design before making his way to costumes. Chief has worked in productions across the country and was excited to share his journey to younger students.
I didn't know this world existed. Like working in theater, like back coming from the reserve, I only dreamt of things like this that actually never thought they would be a theater world. This
Chief spoke about some of the productions he's been involved with, as well as what goes into his work and how he designs his costumes. He took questions from students and staff and then gave a short tour of his studio.
That's my ironing station over there. I have an iron. All my machines over here. That's my leather machine. That's a blind hammer. And these are actually really, they look complicated, but once you get the hang of it.
February is Indigenous Storytelling Month across Saskatchewan, so the Lloydminster Public School Division has been hosting Indigenous speakers to share their histories. LPSD aims to inspire students through this presentation.
We're hoping that the Indigenous youth and children see a successful professional, Indigenous professional in Jeff, that they get the inspiration from someone like Jeff who is really a role model for them.
And that was a look at this week's Beyond the Classroom.
At Lakeland College, our students are challenged to go beyond the classroom, so when industry knocks, they're ready to thrive. Learn more at lakelandcollege.ca.
Now for a first look at today's forecast, we'll go to Tate Laycraft.
Yes, thank you very much, Jasmine. We'll start off with some current temperatures here in Lloydminster. But first, tomorrow morning, it's supposed to be windy. Gusts up to 90 kilometers an hour are expected early Thursday morning, and they will continue throughout the day, subsiding into the evening. But as you can see, right now, it's about 2 degrees at the Lloydminster Airport. Not too bad. Wind not too shabby right now, and humidity's at 79%. Moving over around the region, though, we will start out west in Edmonton. It's 6 degrees. Up in Lac La Biche, it's 5. Bonnyville 1, Cold Lake 3. St. Paul is at an even 0 degrees. Vegreville and Vermilion sitting at the 3-degree mark. Out east in Saskatchewan, Isle La Crosse, a little bit colder, -4 currently. That's the worst it looks here in this region. Green Lakes at 1, Pierceland at 2, Meadow Lake, St. Walburg, and Marwayne all at 1 degree. Maidstone as well. Lloydminster saying it's 2 there. North Battleford at 2 as well, and Macklin then at 3. Taking a look at North Battleford over the course of the next 24 hours. Overnight, it's expected to dip down to about -1. Some snow is expected as well. And tomorrow, that snow will increase a little bit. It's going to be a little bit warmer, 3 degrees, but the snow will fall. It might even be kind of sleety by the looks of things. Cold Lake overnight expected to drop down to 2. Some snow or rain more so kind of expected for there. And tomorrow it's expected to continue. The sun will shine through those clouds a little bit more, but nonetheless. Then looking at some overnight temperatures here, Meadow Lake expected to drop down to 0, and as you can see, a combination of rain, sleet, or snow kind of seen throughout the region here. Provost, Murnum, Wainwright, and Unity will escape that fate. Wainwright expecting a temperature of 2 degrees overnight. Same with Murnum and Provost. Unity will drop down to -1. Taking a look at your 7-day forecast, though, here in the border city, we are obviously experiencing some temperatures that are much warmer than we're accustomed to at this time of year. Thursday and Friday, a little bit of snow is expected, a high of 5 degrees and a low of 2 tomorrow. Friday is expecting an even high and low of 5 degrees, or -5 degrees, excuse me. Saturday will get a little bit colder. We'll see that temperature drop off with a low of -11. Clouds are expected all throughout the week here and into early next week. Tuesday and Wednesday, we'll see a little bit more cold temperatures as well. A low of -11 on Tuesday and a low of -12 on Wednesday. That is all the time we have for right now, though. Jasmine King will be back with some more news after the break.
We're back for another episode of Healthy, Thriving Family After Divorce. Stephanie Dobson joining us once again this week. Stephanie is a lawyer and mediator at Henke Divorce Law and Mediation here in Lloydminster. And Stephanie, next week is Valentine's Day. And Valentine's Day is tough for a lot of people anyways, but particularly if you are going through separation or divorce. So let's talk about what your advice would be for couples who are dealing with that and with Valentine's Day coming up.
Well, let's broaden our idea of Valentine's Day because there's so many ways to celebrate the day of love without feeling like you're missing out. So anticipating today's episode, I did a bit of digging and found that there's actually a number of days leading up to February 14th that people can celebrate. So let's start with today. Did you know that February 9th is actually called Chocolate Day?
Well, there you
go.
go.
Do you have any friends or family, who might want to indulge in some chocolate with you today? I'm sure you do. So that's one way to celebrate. There's also another one called International Hug Day. So there's a debate online as to what day this actually is. Some say January 21st of every year, and some say February 12th. So for today's purposes, let's call it February 12th. And in our 6 feet apart world that we're just hopefully at the tail end of, what could make the difference besides a hug to someone who really is feeling down about this upcoming love day? 2 more. One is called February 13th is called Galentine's Day. So this originated actually from an American TV comedy show called Parks and Recreation, and it's grown into a worldwide celebration of friendships. So on this TV show, the main character invited her friends for brunch, and they had waffles and celebrated love of friendships. So if you happen to get to February 14th and you figure, I really want to celebrate on this day and I'm feeling really down, you may want to figure who's in your world that could celebrate love with you. So there's friends, there's family, children, and most importantly, love of oneself. So even if you're alone, think of 3 things that you could do that would really bring you joy. Watching your favorite movie, favorite meal, baking, eating chocolate, whether it's today or on, the day of love. Just broaden the definition of Valentine's Day.
And if you have friends or family, Stephanie, that are going through divorce and separation, and obviously, Valentine's Day is coming, what are some things that you can do to help lift them up and maybe get them out of the funk that they might be thinking about because of this day coming up?
Well, be a good friend. Make them feel special, like the special person that they are. So maybe consider 3 things that might bring them joy. So you know them very well. Do they like chocolate? Do they like a certain restaurant? You get them a takeout meal, or even have flowers delivered to them. Flower delivery doesn't have to be from a significant other. It makes you smile, whoever you receive flowers from. Or what if you spent quality time together? Do you want to go over on Valentine's Day itself and watch a movie with them? Think of whatever they're missing out on and help them to fill that void.
And what about with kids? Especially when they get to the teenage years, sometimes kids are going through their own stuff on Valentine's Day. But if there are kids, what's the importance of kind of helping them and the parents get through some of the things that are happening on Valentine's Day?
Well, especially with younger kids, some families have developed their own Valentine's Day traditions within their own family unit. So maybe you give cards to one another, you give little mementos, you buy some chocolate, or you have a special meal. I've always said in past episodes, try as hard as possible to keep some consistency and routine for children and to keep some of those traditions. So if that helps them to feel normal, keep that up. On the other hand, of course, as you mentioned, kids mature so quickly. So maybe what they've wanted to do in the past years may not be what they wanted to do this year. Last year, I was buying Valentine's Day cards at the drugstore for all 3 of my kids, and this year, only 2 of them want to do it. Now, on the parenting schedule, you may or may not have your kids this year for Valentine's Day itself. So if you're not with them, you may want to think of some ways to celebrate with them, even though you're not there. So maybe arrange to drop off a care package or to send them with a care package to the other parent's home before they leave, or even a video chat with the kiddos. Whatever you can do to make your kids feel special on that day is perfect.
All right, Stephanie, well, thank you so much for chatting with us, and we'll be back again next week with more ideas on how to get through separation and divorce.
You betcha. Thanks.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
Well, this upcoming weekend is definitely a big one if you are a football fan. Of course, Super Bowl Sunday coming up in just a few days. Super Bowl 56 will take place at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles between the LA Rams and the Cincinnati Bengals. Joining me to discuss a little bit of the X's and O's and give his pick on the Super Bowl is Vince Oreo, head coach of the Holy Rosary Raiders football team. Vince, thank you for taking this time and joining me.
Hey, Evan, thanks for having me.
Now, Vince, obviously both these teams are more than willing combatants, so we're just going to go through and sort of, I guess, break down, each sort of strong points for either team. Now, one thing that I want to talk about, Vince, here is, for just the second time in NFL history, the home team, or rather the city that is hosting the Super Bowl, will also have a team in the Super Bowl. Now, just, obviously home field advantage is a thing. The fans, the noise, everything, contributes into a game. But at the Super Bowl specifically, how big do you think just having the crowd behind the LA Rams will be for them?
Yeah, I don't know with Super Bowl. I mean, if you look at ticket prices, I'm not sure if a regular fan can afford a ticket to the Super Bowl. So I don't know if it's regular LA Rams fans or if it's people from around the world and country coming in that can afford a $6,000 ticket. But nonetheless, they'll have some supporters there. Probably the biggest thing is being in your own locker room, having your own food services and those sorts of things that happen on a week-to-week basis for these guys, just staying in that routine.
That game day routine, sort of what they were used to throughout, 17, 18 games throughout this season, or rather, half of those games throughout this season. Now, Vince, just talking, sticking with the LA Rams, talking about their defense specifically. I mean, they have the best defensive tackle, arguably in football history, but for sure right now in the NFL, joining him on the rush is Leonard Floyd and Von Miller. And then if you go down, to some of the deep coverage, there's Jalen Ramsey, there's Jordan Fuller, really just up and down throughout that defense. There is stud player after stud player. Just, from an offense perspective with the Bengals, just how tough is it to game plan when going into this type of game?
Well, I mean, for these guys, I think they know what they're getting, right? So you can game plan that way. There are no secrets. Everything's on film, and you've seen everything that they can bring. For the Bengals, though, they just seem to persevere. They got their butts kicked by Tennessee, 8 sacks, I think, in that game. They ended up, coming out on top. So it's not like they can't find ways to solve what a defense is trying to do.
And it's really being led by, 3 absolute studs, all starting first names with the letter J, that being Joe Burrow, who best completion percentage through the regular season in the NFL, Joe Mixon, who was, 3rd in rushing yards, and then Jamar Chase, who has just been absolutely stellar, especially in the playoffs, actually setting a new record for most receiving yards in the playoffs by a rookie. Vince, after talking about the defense and how many monsters there are there, just how big will those 3 players specifically have to be for the Bengals?
Yeah, they're going to have to get rid of the Super Bowl jitters real quick. They're going to have to be leaders. First time in this position. Mixon's been in the league for a few years, but Burrow only year 2, and an injury stalled year 1, and Chase is a rookie. So, they're going to have to play like grown men on Sunday and play like they've been there before.
Yeah, 21-year-old Jamar Chase might have to quickly age overnight if that is at all possible. Now, final question for you, Vince, and this is the big one, obviously. Who is your pick for this Sunday?
Well, since my Colts lost out a few weeks ago, I've been riding the Bengal wave, so I'll pick them as an underdog pick for Sunday.
And who knows, maybe we'll be seeing a new Joe Cool or Cool Joe come Monday or Sunday night. Who knows if Joe Burrow will take over that name from Joe Montana. Maybe a little bit of work to go there still. Vince, thank you very much for taking this time and joining me.
You bet, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Taking a look at your 7-day forecast, just to close things off here. Some snow expected for the next 2 days, a high of -5 and a low of -5 tomorrow night. Saturday through Wednesday, as in the days prior, clouds and sunshine are expected. Things will get a little bit colder as we progress into next week, with Tuesday and Wednesday looking a little chilly. Lows of -11 and -12 respectively.
Thank you, Tate, and thank you for joining us on Primetime Local News tonight. And you can catch the second hour after this.